Hey, I'm not muted anymore. Hello. I know how to work the stream. Hey everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of words, recorder of videos, and a tabletop role-playing aficionado is what you missed a second ago. Welcome to whatever this is going to be, which is, I guess, the D&D Direct stream from Wizards of the Coast, talking about presumably D&D 2024, probably their virtual tabletop and whatnot. This is not something I usually do, which is, I mean, I've done reaction videos before, but I usually wait and do it on my own time. But they actually happen to be doing this stream kind of in a spot where I could actually whip up a live stream reaction to it. So we can all watch it together and comment. And you don't have to just watch the what will no doubt be a just lovely, mature, reasonable live chat, which we will probably nuke here once it actually begins. By the way, I am trying desperately not to get a head cold. My wife has been sick this last weekend. She was pretty laid out and she's still getting over it. And unfortunately, I am now feeling the classic symptoms of just tiredness and sore throat and all that good stuff. So that's one of the reasons I didn't end up doing the crafting stream last night. We actually, her softball game ran. My oldest had a first softball game of the season that ran long. So by the time we got dinner and came back, it was literally almost stream time. I was like, oh, I need to cancel it, and then I just was like, I don't really want to get on last night anyway, because when you're not feeling well, it's exacerbated when it's late at night. Your whole body's just like, look, I need to sleep. Yeah, sorry. I'm back now. I am unmuted myself. Hopefully everybody can see okay. I literally just whipped up this kind of overlay just so we can all view it together. I will probably make it bigger once it actually starts. I think it's supposed to start very soon. Salt water, yes. I actually have salt water because I have saltwater fish tanks, so I need to... Oof, this is loud. Got the volume that started, by the way, that volume was at like 40%. Let's go. How many people are watching right now on the D&D stream? It says 3,132 currently. I'll take you all any day though. The best community. I know, I've been drinking my water. We've got... Wife and I are basically both fighting over the Dayquil. I'm still in the denial phase of the sickness, where I'm like, I'm not really sick. My wife's just full on, like, hacking and spewing and just all kinds of lovely. Which we should have expected, because this is week 3 of school being back. And my youngest is going to preschool now. So... we are a veritable petri dish of germs and whatnot. And of course the kids are fine, perfectly fine. It's just me and my wife are just like getting killed. What's our predictions? Do we have any predictions? Predictions for the stream? Are they going to acknowledge the fuck up that just recently happened, like as of last week, right? The whole D&D Beyond 2024, like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and nuke all your 2014 stuff off your character sheet. Don't worry, you'll find it buried in the compendium somewhere. And everybody's like, wait, what? That's kind of a pain in the ass. I talked about that on my Monday update video with patrons. It felt very OGL-ish, not nearly to that degree, but to where the community, like, it's like a step process where it's like they announce something that was very poorly thought out. Community immediately has a big backlash against it, and then they have to like walk back and apologize. It's like you point to the whiteboard and there's like the steps that they have to go through. No way they acknowledge it. Yeah. I mean, they could, since they've already technically reversed it, then I could see... Is it still too loud? I don't know if I can turn this down much more. Hopefully it's just this... It's at like 10% right now. Okay. I've got it almost all the way down. I feel like I'm having to shout over the damn thing. And yeah, I hope I don't sound too nasally. I fear it's only going to get worse this week. We'll see how I'm doing on Thursday and Friday. It's always weird to be, like, head cold while it's, like, fucking hot outside also. It's a weird combination. Morgan says, I hope they do talk about it. I want to see how they spin it. Yeah, maybe, I mean, if they have to do a D&D Beyond section, be like, you know what they'll do is say, they might say a line that's like, and we've, due to your amazing feedback because of our willingness to listen to the community or work with the community, so, you know, some corpo speak. Oh, man. I thought everyone would give their money. I mean, want to move on to the shiny new system. Right, which we all know, like, that's the goal, right? Like, you don't have to bullshit us. Like, we know the goal is to get everybody onto the new system and sell everybody the new books and yada, yada, yada. But you do that by making it so awesome and so attractive and so well integrated in everything that people want to go to that system. And not because you're just going to take away the old toys and be like, all right, now you got to use this system. That is not going to go over well. And it didn't go over well. Some disconnect between D&D Beyond and Wizards, even though it's all one and the same. Yeah, I probably agree with that. And I think I mentioned this in my Patreon update, but I'm not even sure it was malicious. It might have just been incompetence might be too rough of a word, but, you know, something to where somebody just was like, yeah, let's just do it this way. And people can still find it in the compendium, no problem, but this will be the easiest way to do it. But then, you know, when it went live and they announced it, everybody's like, wait, you guys can't just keep the old, like, how is this good? Oh, we're getting a countdown. Anyway, hopefully we can talk about positive stuff, because, you know, I think it's better when D&D doesn't shit on itself. It's better for all of us, frankly.
People, when they
All right, do we need to
playing pretend
volume
in a
up a little
world
bit.
that isn't real.
I played first when I was 7.
I started about 8 or 9.
Since college,
I started playing in
All right, give us the sizzle reel.
1991.
I have run games for my mom, my dad, my sisters, my friends.
Sizzle me.
He got me hooked, and I've been playing ever since. This was like some of the best times I've ever had.
It's limitless. I ended up throwing a boot at one of my party members.
Oh man, just do a whole segment on
And,
people's like D&D
he's my
caves.
husband
That'd be
now.
cool. Always
and that's
impressed
the
by
thing
that.
that connects all of us, is that we all love D&D.
We've made something that's its own thing. That's the joy of collaborative storytelling.
It's almost like it's a metaphor for life, right?
This group was the thing that kept me going.
The good
is
friends
pre-recorded.
in
I
this
mean,
life that I have, I found
probably.
playing D&D.
This is our tribe. D&D is our tribe.
Most
I think it is important.
You could actually let
corporate stuff's got to be very carefully filtered.
The world is your oyster. The possibilities
Celebrity
are
montage.
endless.
I'm doing you a favor! Pow!
Today, the D&D audience is bigger.
How many minutes before our
and
first
more
Baldur's
varied
Gate
than it's
we just
ever
saw?
been before.
When we can come together in the same room, it's a different relationship. It's a different bonding.
So what do you want to do?
What about melee class changes? Yeah. Because they've already done kind of the class dives.
Rewritten the player's handbook from beginning to end. So yeah, if someone asks us what's
Rid of that.
new,
Let's go.
yes.
Theater mode. Aha. Aha.
Making the sections
Now we're
up
looking
front
better.
that are all about welcoming you into the game
Need to
and
stare at the
teaching you
freaking
what the game
live
is
chat.
before you actually start building a character
Right.
are hugely important.
This is the first player's handbook in the game's half-century of life that teaches you how to play before it tells you anything else.
Just super approachable. It feels like it's way more
we know how the
welcoming
volume
than
is.
ever.
Whoops, somebody didn't.
I
Do not
love
disturb
making changes to the
on
game based on
Discord.
what the
Sorry about
fans
that.
have said.
The cat has dark vision.
Yes,
The cat has dark vision. It's so stark, the difference between what we had in 2014
Cat
and we
should
had
probably
in
have
2024,
true
and
sight.
it almost feels like there's more life and fun potential, and there's more energy that's just waiting to be released in the 2024 Player's Handbook.
We have brand new spells, enhanced spells, brand new feats, character options that weren't there before, more subclasses than were available before, ways to customize your
really like their
character
art,
that
though.
you never could before.
Damn.
Your character's background now influences who your character is through the life of that character in ways
So much of the
that
art
it
is
never did
action
before.
scenes,
Every
too.
species option in
Like
the
shit
book
going
has
on.
been redesigned. It is
Look at that. Like,
a
that's fucking
complete
cool.
reimagining of the book. When we embarked on the redesign of the Player's Handbook, one of my big priorities for our work was to create a way for our weapon-focused characters to engage with the game in new tactical ways. We created Weapon Mastery to give our fighters,
James, you called it. They're
rogues,
jumping right
rangers,
into
paladins,
melee
barbarians,
stuff.
and others, really any character who is all about using weapons, a set of tactical gameplay options that they
Shit,
never
cool
had
armor.
before. We wanted them to feel like, just as our spellcasters do, that each round they have a set of options that can meaningfully alter the tactical situation in a battle. We've been working with our friends on the D&D Beyond team so that when you go
D&D
in
Beyond, you
and
say?
you've purchased the new Player's Handbook, you will be able to enjoy weapon mastery on a character who has access to that feature.
Everything is new in the Player's Handbook. I think every piece of art is new. Everything's illustrated, so the players get to see trying to support the text as much as possible with options for your characters, options for your spells, options
that all we
for
got about Weapon
everything you
Master?
can play as, basically.
Being able to identify with all the characters that are available makes them feel like they're part of it, and they can visualize it better if they can see themselves in these worlds.
The rules glossary in the Player's Handbook is a super handy reference. You can just go and alphabetically find whatever crunchy detail of the
Yes.
rules you need to know in the moment.
A number of the people who've already seen the book often say, this whole book is great, but I would buy this book just for the rules glossary.
Like the kind of thing you would have on the back of a
2024 Dungeon
DM
Master's
screen, maybe.
Guide is really a top-to-bottom rewrite of the 2014 Dungeon Master's Guide. It is chock
Boy, we
full
are
of advice
whirling through the
for
books
Dungeon
then.
Masters, old and new, for you to really take it and run with it.
There is a big, fat honkin' treasures chapter in the DMG, which is not surprising to anybody who's seen DMGs of old. We've got 100 pages or so of magic items in the DMG.
Ooh.
Many of them are new, just so we have a very well-rounded selection of magic items to choose from.
I think the combo of the
100
PHP
pages
and
of
the DMG
just
combined
magic items?
really feels like something that will be way easier for a new player to experience, from whether you want to be a DM
Magic
or
items are
player.
definitely my most used part of
was in the last one.
the 5e
And
DMG.
99% of the art in this book is new.
Dragons are cool, and we like dragons.
Here's your soundbite.
This is by far the most
Oh.
monster-packed monster
Wait, did we
manual
know that?
D&D
Monster Manual's not
has
coming out
ever
till next
had.
year?
Part of that, frankly, is when I
See that?
was
February
drafting the
2025?
original outline, I just couldn't stop. Yes, the Monster Manual is about giving you the rules for the monsters and cool art.
I know they
for me,
did
it's
a
this massive tome
similar
of
stagger
inspiration.
with
I'm
5e.
working on the monster manual. I think about when I was a kid
Hey,
picking
C-team.
up the book and being like, this is the coolest creature I've ever seen. I want to make a campaign with this in it, or like I'm just obsessed with how a Displacer Beast looks. I want to make.
Because didn't they
this
do
monster
the Tyranny of
manual
Dragons?
amazing.
Or was it Lost Mind Offender? Like one of them came out even
I'm so
before the
excited
Monster
for other
Manual
people
did.
to be able to
In terms of having an
read
adventure.
and engage and just opening the doors for more and more folks to jump in on this. It's going to be so much fun.
We're working on translating the Player's Handbook and the other core books into French and Italian and German and Spanish.
It's so wonderful when we can have translated versions to make it easier for the next generation.
All right, I'm a
of
sucker
D&D
for
fans in
the
other
B-roll
parts
they're
of the
using
world to
of like
jump right
convention
into the
play
game and start
and like this
playing.
epic music.
Genuinely, I love this game, and I think it helps so many people from a role play perspective, a friend perspective, and just a way to hang out with your friends to get to know new people. And if it can let you play better or find new things,
imagine the
or
work
even
put
better
into
find new friends and find social
capturing all
groups
this
and
footage.
express yourself in a way that you've never been able to do, that's great.
Hey, Starion actor. Forget his name.
So when we think about D&D into the
He's become a
future,
bit of a
one of the
celebrity.
ways that we're thinking about it is what can we offer our fans that are the best versions of things
Watch
that
Party.
they've never seen before
Lost Minds
and
came out
things
first,
that they may
yeah.
have experienced but they want more of.
So Lost Minds and the starter kit came out first. Dragon Anthology, summer 2025.
The Dragon Anthology book will be the first anthology and adventure book for the new 2024 rules.
This
Okay,
anthology
first
is all
adventure.
about dragons in dungeons.
It's about dragons.
And it's kind of surprising how many people say that they've actually
Let's
never
fucking
fought
go.
a dragon in D&D.
It is a book of 10 short adventures that all feature dragons in dungeons.
10 short adventures. It was not a campaign. You're going too quick. You're going too quick. Say, stop. I need to parse this.
We are creating. We really lean into using components to teach people how to play.
I'm always fascinated by playing with new players. So the
Just
first
this.
time that a group sees a beholder
What is
and
Fall 2025?
doesn't know how many eyes it has or what they do, it's going to be an epic moment for them. For the context of this box, it's in a place called the Borderlands, and it takes the players to kind of
that name
these
seems
three
familiar.
settings.
3E?
There's the keep on the Borderlands, there's the wilderness itself, and then there is the Caves of Chaos. Sets
I know, I was
forth on
thinking
this-
Tyranny of
this
Dragons
awesome
when they
journey
did.
that they can have for years and years and years, and
Because
hopefully
that Tyranny of
bring
Dragons was
that
also the
starter
first
experience
big
to someone
campaign
else
book for
down the line.
5e. So maybe they're like, fuck it, let's just do
We can't say enough about how grateful
Dragon
we
Adventure.
are to the local game.
But it sounded like it was an
community.
anthology.
So how do we
Not
set
a
it up so
campaign.
that they can create these amazing, beautiful play events? Part of the way that we're doing that is game stores will now get early access to our releases 2 weeks early.
a lot of companies are doing
And
this.
those releases will be supported by play programs so that a store owner can go, hey, you
Not
got your
just
book
Hasbro
early,
Wizards,
and
a
now
lot of
here's some adventures to play along
board
with
game
it with all of your
publishers.
friends in the store.
Release first
One
to
thing I
hobby
love the
stores.
most in this world is that's when I
before
can bring
going to,
Magic
like,
and D&D
Target and
together.
Amazon.
They're both just so special to so many folks.
Ah, that's cool.
And Magic is going to highlight D&D's 50th anniversary with some secret lair drops today.
God, you're going so fucking fast through everything.
The
This
next step
is-
for us with Lego is really
This is
to
hard for me to
explore what it
react to
looks like
things
beyond
live.
a
All right,
major
the
set.
freaking
And so
Mind
we're
Flayer
doing 12
minifigure, come
minifigs.
on.
Those are going to come out on 9/1, so very, very, very soon. How exciting is that?
To be part of a community of authors and creators that grow my game table more than just the people sitting at it is so special.
That's kind of been the dream, is to be a part of that. We're very excited to just add our voice and our passion to the bigger picture.
We're so excited to have so many people making and
so
sharing
quick.
their D&D content with other people. We're thrilled to announce
All
some of our
2025 is the
partnerships
new
with
starter
creators
set,
that you
okay.
know and love, whose
I
content
don't think
will be coming
they-
to the D&D Beyond marketplace.
Talked about the starter set.
Part of our reimagining of D&D's
Forgotten
core
Realms, late
books
2025.
was us also wanting to return to D&D's most popular setting, the Forgotten Realms.
We are super excited about the Forgotten Realms guide. There hasn't been
Since
a player's
5e.
guide in 5th edition.
It's too much to fit into one book. So our return to the realms is going to be in 2 books. One tailor-made for dungeon masters, and the other a book that is tailor-made for players, but also of use to our DMs.
We start the new player
DMs,
options.
you're
Lots
definitely
of
need to buy
great,
everything anyway.
crunchy stuff for players to dig into to make new characters. New
So 2
subclasses,
source
new
books
feats,
for-
new backgrounds, new spells, new kinds of spells, and then a chapter on factions that player characters can belong to. A lot
So
of
another
these
Sword
factions
Coast
that you'll
Adventures guide.
recognize, like the Harpers or the Red Wizards
Right.
of Thay, and maybe a couple of new ones that maybe got promoted.
Then over in the Dungeon Master focused book, that's where we're really going to dig in to different parts of the realms.
If you want to do urban fantasy,
Beyond the
well,
Sword
we've got
Coast?
Baldur's Gate just for you. If you want to go do survival horror, you can take your adventure off to Icewind Dale. We've got sort of classic D&D fantasy where you have all these little isolated towns that live around this giant elvish mega dungeon that you can go into and explore. There's the Dale lands for you. And maybe you're having some fairy stories or you're having conflict that you can
I
resolve.
want you to
without
cite specific
violence.
locations
That's
beyond
all the Moonshae Islands.
Schultz.
And then finally,
Okay,
the land
Moonshae.
of Kalimshan.
Each one of
Callum
those
Shan.
both delivers on a different play style
All right.
and just almost a different biome and like world that you can inhabit from a fantasy perspective.
I'm thrilled
Yeah, Forgotten Realms is
to
huge.
be creating source books for players and DMs that will invite them
Well,
back
Jason, I think
into
we're
that
now learning
world
the fact
in a
that they
way
just wanted to
we
throw
haven't done in
Greyhawk
years.
fans a bone
We're really
with the
looking to
Dungeon Master's Guide
set up a
adventure
future
set in Greyhawk.
where everyone has this like shared resource of tools and
now they're
ways to
revealing
connect
that like,
and
no, wait,
play
we're actually going to do
together
our full
so that they can
Forgotten
take that
Realm. But I like that
experience
it's
and
not
share it
just
with
the
their
Sword
friends,
Coast
share their
Adventures guide. It
creativity
sounded like it
together,
was Forgotten
and create the next
Realms, the
50
whole
years of
damn
D&D.
thing. All right, are y'all going to deep dive into each of these things? Because this is too fucking much. Player's Handbook in September, Dungeon Master's Guide in November, Monster Manual not till
And I'm here to save you
February.
again.
So many
Are we
of
gonna
us
talk about
played
Baldur's
Baldur's
Gate?
Gate 3.
What in the sweet hells were you thinking?
That was too quick.
This
I'm
is
stressed
the
out.
opportunity for people to continue their adventures in this new way to play D&D.
We have this 3D sandbox.
Hey, did you
where
fix
can
it so
bring your friends
me and my friends
play
can go back and
D&D
finish the
with
game?
all of these
Because
cool
that bug has
3D
killed our whole
environment
playthrough.
pieces and miniatures that come with the product. You can start
I talk like
experiencing a role-playing
Slytherin.
game, but in a more digital-friendly format.
You go take those characters, Asterion and Karlak, you get to play with them and just tell your own tale.
Where people who may be used to video games actually get to see the thing that you're talking
There are
about
a few
instead
of
of just
us.
trying to imagine it.
And it's not meant to replace your imagination. In fact, you
Raising
actually
my
need
need a
hand.
lot of imagination
Used to video
still.
games.
You actually just pick up the miniatures and move them
I am the
around.
video game generation.
And you can build things like you would build at your table with 3D terrain pieces. You have 3D characters that you can look at, manipulate, dress up. What we're trying to do
So
is get
this
the
is the
most
virtual
fast, fun,
tabletop they're doing,
accessible
right?
version of the game.
It's basically playing D&D on your own virtual tabletop. Just easy, fast, fun. If you played with minis before, you're just playing
Just
with
easy,
minis
fast
here.
3D
It's just a
modeling.
place for you to
I mean,
connect
I'm
with your friends
snarky, but if you
online
can make it work and
whenever
make
you
it
want.
simple. The mini aesthetic is cool though. That's very distinctive. It's all very 3D.
We're creating a lot of really cool assets so you can create these worlds and tell your own story.
The tools aren't just about building the walls. You have to bring life inside that dungeon. And of course you can make monsters, but we want you to be able to add sound effects,
Boy, that looks
visual
intimidating.
effects.
The adventure that we created to start your journey in the 3D sandbox is called Danger in Dunbarrow.
This is like the best starter pack that's ever
That's in the
existed
walls,
for Dungeons & Dragons.
You can also bring in any character from D&D Beyond, and it will bring in all of your equipment and all of your abilities and spells.
kinda expected that.
And you can use those by clicking on the buttons.
And we also have
D&D
a thing
Beyond.
we're calling the mini maker, different scales, sizes. The look
Oh
of it.
man,
awesome
that's
thing
too
about D&D
fun.
is you can continue
Fucking
to get,
like Hero
magical
Forge.
items, and then you can go back to
Mini
your
builder.
character and redress them up over and over.
What are the odds they're
again
gonna sell
and
all
show
that shit
your
as like
individuality with the group,
micro
and you just
DLC
feel the
too?
progression.
We're really trying to capture this toyetic vibe. So all of our assets are created in a way that's like
Like every
actually
time you
buying
buy a new
high-end,
thing, you
mini
get
or figure.
some new
we want it to
goodies.
feel kind of painted, but kind of realistic. Trying to capture that beautiful in between.
God, they
where
look
art and
really fucking
figures
good.
and games come together.
We have an idea that's called a module. It's a D&D
Yeah, I love this
mini
art, too.
adventure meant to last a few
I think,
hours
Jason,
just
this
so that
is-
you can get a taste or get a part
This
of
is their
your
new
adventure.
virtual tabletop
We
that
didn't
we're
want
looking
to tell
at.
the whole story for you.
Is this what they call Project
We
Sigil?
give you these places. You want to go to a graveyard? Well, here's a graveyard. You want to go to a mine? You want to go to town? You can then assemble them how you want, but each has a pre-made story in it, characters, adventures, and so it's a great place to start. You're modding games more than making everything whole cloth, which is
Okay.
just faster and more fun for most people.
But we also have a builder, which is awesome. So you can create your own dungeon, you can create your own forest.
This is crazy.
The level builder is sort of like the best miniature set that you could have, and it's at your fingertips.
It comes in a variety of different kit pieces, so you can snap together multiple walls.
Okay.
It's really strong for DMs because you can use the level builder to make something very quickly, or you can spend
you
as much
paint,
time as
like,
you want to on
boundaries
it,
and stuff?
whatever story they're trying to tell.
And the Dungeon Master has to have secrets, has to be able to surprise
Can
the
you
players.
do-
We have secret doors.
How does
and
lighting work?
traps,
Like
right?
visibility?
We have gizmos,
I have so many
like,
questions.
You know, lifts that go up and down, all sorts of crazy stuff. Really make that storytelling dynamic.
We got motherfucking elevators in
2D
here.
tokens are our way to let you bring in like every monster that can put any image on there, or you can bring in your own image and create a unique character.
You don't
Really?
even have to play Dungeons and Dragons necessarily, right? If you
So
want
can you create your custom? Because that's a big question.
Another game.
Is it a
We roll
closed
dice, we have toys,
ecosystem?
like go crazy. We're starting with Dungeons and
Or
Dragons,
fucking
but there's
giant
so much
scorpion,
more
that's
you can
awesome.
do with it. All sorts of kinds of games. And
Or
all
can
sorts of
somebody
types
just
of
mod their
toys
own
that we
shit
wanna
in
add
there,
over the years.
and we can
We're
all
opening it
fight
up
the
so
giant
you can
penis
bring in
monsters that we're gonna
any
end up
kind of
getting?
character you want, like fight Drist against a robot. You know, you'll be able to do that with all the groups that we're working with.
Will they have some sort of Steam workshop type thing where people can upload and share their giant penis
We're giving them
monsters?
over to the players too, so you can really play out what you've always wanted to do.
Look at these fucking minis. These are
The
amazing
big deal
looking.
is it wouldn't be Dungeons and Dragons if you couldn't share it. right? There's a huge creator community.
I was just saying.
Kept the game growing and going. So people are gonna be able to share these with each other. We're
Thank you.
integrated with D&D
Pink shirt
Beyond.
guy, you
It's able to very easily organize
Give it to me.
information and create characters so that you can play that same character either in a book, on a piece of paper, on the web, or in this 3D immersive world. And if you have an original 2D map, you can easily upload that through D&D Beyond's map feature. With just one click, you can share that map into Project Sigil, drop down your minis, and keep right on playing.
Oh, sorry, are we pronouncing it Sigil now?
We're
Is
starting
that
off on PC,
is that canon?
But we want to go everywhere because we want to connect players across mobile.
I would prefer if we
console,
called it
and
Sigil,
don't know,
but I
maybe
assumed it was
even
named
your
after the
fridge.
city.
Wherever you want to play, we want to be there at your fingertips. This 3D immersive experience is going to be available for free to try out, but also players are going to get it. DMs are going to get even more advanced tools. And we're going to offer even deeper, richer experiences for those who really want to dedicate themselves to the 3D side of this. Whether it's D&D Beyond, the books, or the 3D experience.
Pretty
we just wanna
fucking
make
hyped
it
about this. This
easier,
looks
faster,
really nice.
Put more creative control in your
For those of
hands.
us that are very into
We
playing
wanna thank
video
you for being
games,
a part of
D&D
the
came
exciting
after.
development of Project
This looks
Sigil,
very cool.
and invite everyone
Oh,
with a
I'd say that, but a lot of
D&D
people play with,
Beyond account to join the
miniatures and
closed
maps and
beta
stuff and
coming
3D
this
models.
fall. Sign up for free right now at dndbeyond.com/project-sigil. And as
go.
an extra bonus, when you pre-order the 2024 digital and physical horror rulebook bundle, you will get this awesome Gold Dragon Mini to kickstart your Project Sigil collection.
The crowd cheers. Okay, cool. I'm into that. Is that the end of the direct? That might be the end of the direct. How awkward. That was so fast. You guys went way too fast. Jeez. I assumed this was going to be like an hour-long deep dive thing. Nope, yeah, we're done. We're donezo.
A new player to
Wow. All right, let's go back to... Where did they show... trying to find. They showed that one image that had there we go, right there. Oh shoot, did I miss it? Right here. All right, we'll stop right there. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna talk for a few more minutes, so we can all parse what just happened. First of all, that was like, I mean, they did call it D&D Direct. Which, you know, the Nintendo Directs were, I think, probably the first company that did, like, the Direct, which was like, hey, we're just going to do a showcase of our stuff. And those are usually about 20 to 30 minutes as well. So I guess on the one hand, I'm kind of, you know, yeah, it's nice and short and sweet to the point. A lot of people are going to watch it. On the other hand, shit, they went way too fast through a bunch of, like, major announcements that I want to know a lot more about. We have official, correct me if I'm wrong, official release dates for the other books. I thought everything, maybe I was wrong. Everything was coming September 2024. It's just the Player's Handbook. November is the Dungeon Master's Guide. And then the Monster Manual doesn't actually appear till after the holidays, February 18th, 2025. Solid 4 months, 3 months, December, January, February, 3 months later. Then we get our first adventure made for D&D 2024 edition, which is this Dragon Anthology. I don't know if that's the actual name of it or if that's like just what we're calling it. Not till the summer. So a little bit of a bummer that it's not launched. Although I guess Dungeon Master's Guide is supposed to be coming with like a pretty small adventure included. But it is a bummer that they're not launching with an adventure, because that's really what's going to get people, you know, excited, interested in playing. At least the DM's excited. I mean, a lot of players are going to get the Player's Handbook, like, all right, let's go. And everybody's going to be like, all right, well, I guess I've got to just do one of these other adventures. And this isn't a full campaign. It sounded like it was well, it's an anthology. It's, what did they say, 10 short adventures. So it's going to be more like a Candlekeep Mysteries or Tales from the Portal and all of those, which those are fine. I've enjoyed a lot of those, but it's a bummer we're not getting a full campaign. Then we get a new starter set, which this is the thing that should have fucking launched alongside the 2024 edition. That was, I mean, I get that you want to make sure it's good, but like, guys, that was the thing. That's how, I mean, 5e did so well, partially because that starter set with the Lost Mines was such a good adventure and had everything you needed. If anything, that should have been pushed to here, and then these guys should have been maybe delayed. I don't know, but starter set not till fall 2025, which we already have a lot of starter sets for 5e. Then a Forgotten Realms. Okay, and the other thing they announced was the Forgotten Realms setting source book, which is being split into 2 books, one for players and one for DMs, which sounds like the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, except, let me take my headphones off, I just realized, except it's not just the Sword Coast, right? We're actually splitting it up between hopefully more areas. I know they mentioned Moonshae Isles as one of them, and the Forgotten Realms is a giant setting. But yeah, to Jason's point, we had thought that maybe they were doing Greyhawk for the main setting for this new edition of D&D, because they talked about using adventures in the Dungeon Master's Guide that are set specifically in Greyhawk. So we're like, okay, maybe we're going to switch settings. However, now I'm thinking that's not the case if we're going to go full on into a Forgotten Realms whole source book thing coming late 2025. This is a lot of information. They just like sped through everything. Certainly be an adventure in the starter set. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what we expect, right? We expect another, and that's been the case. You know, we can cite as precedent the other, what are the other called? Stormwreck Isle and Ice Spire Peak, I think they've done like 2 or 3 of them now. Where they were all kind of generally like level 1, like tier 1 basically of a starter adventure. And all generally pretty good, pretty well received, I think. Yeah, no mention of any big modules. So yeah, no big campaign books. Not even given the briefest mention of what Dragon Anthology is. I agree, because they were very, they just sped through. This was a super big montage. Somebody just vomited up all their plans for through the next year announcements. I can see why, obviously, they want to be like, all right, we'll do another direct on just the Dragon Anthology in the future, and then we'll do another one on this one. But, like, my goodness, it's interesting that they would go so far as to even talk about what's going to happen possibly over a year from now with late 2025. Maybe they're worried about leaks or something, or I don't know, it seems pretty early to get people hyped, whereas you want to kind of get everybody hyped over, like, one thing at a time is what I would think. Like, hey, let's, like this one would have been like, hey, let's announce the Dragon Anthology, and then half the direct is about just this Dragon Anthology. That's kind of what I would have preferred, honestly. And then when we get to, you know, maybe late in the year, maybe early in the year, now we start talking about the new starter set that's going to happen in the fall, I think would have been a better way to do it. Yeah, I mentioned it being 10 mini adventures, so another anthology, which I wonder if their anthologies sell very well. Maybe they're thinking like, or maybe they've gotten some feedback from folks and say, hey, it turns out, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily like running these full campaigns from start to finish, but maybe we get, everybody gets more mileage out of doing these, you know, smaller individual adventures that they can slot into whatever they're running a homebrew campaign, and they can just grab these adventures and, you know, throw them into a place, and maybe that's where people get more value, which is fair. But like, talk about that. I want them to discuss that. Yeah, it did feel very rushed. I kind of like splitting the Realms Guide between players and DMs, even if it's kind of a cash grab. Yeah, it's definitely a cash grab. I guess I won't comment on that until we see what the hell's involved there. But yeah, the Sword Coast Adventures Guide was 1 book. But, you know, maybe the Forgotten Realms is enormous. Maybe they are going to cover everything, and the campaign guide will include a whole bunch of cool adventure beats. And I would love to see some mini adventure. That's honestly what's going to sell it more than anything, is like, yeah, you can give me settings, but give me some actual like mini adventures somewhere along the lines of what you might find in anthology, like 1 or 2 in the campaign guide. And then the player guide would obviously have all the new, you know, it's just your classic expansion of the player's handbook, I guess. But, you know, both books better be damn big if you're going to split them up between 2, because they literally admitted as much in the video. That's like, oh yeah, DMs are probably going to want both these books. Like, yeah, no shit. With all the time to work on it, it should be good. Yeah. Closest thing to a new Splat book will be the Sword Coast Adventures Guide 2, which is probably what they're calling it right now. At least the community's probably calling it. Not going to repeat the same mistakes like species-locked subclasses. We'll see, I guess. It'll be interesting. I'm not terribly familiar with the Sword Coast Adventurers Guide. That was before I really started doing reviews and stuff. Obviously, we've used content from there, but then I think they eventually updated a lot of the content in like later books as well. The Forgotten Realms can justify being 2 big books if done properly. Right. I think that's the thing is I don't want Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide 2. I want Forgotten fucking Realms, which include. I mean, they showed that giant map, right? Which hopefully we get a new map. Although the 5e map is nice, but like the Sword Coast is only as just one little strip. I mean, everything is set in this area, which is, you know, it's the New York City of the Forgotten Realms, I guess. Everything happens there. And or in Chult with the one adventure, or Icewind Dale, I guess, is the other, which they did reference Icewind Dale. But, you know, go beyond that. Go the Anarok Desert. Go with, give me some like Myth Draenor and what's the Cormyr, Moonshae Isles over there. Like, hell, I don't even know much about my D&D lore, and I can even cite locations that have not really been explored at all in 5th edition very much. So, yeah, I think there's definitely more grounds to explore with an actual cool setting book. But what about the virtual tabletop? Do we want to talk about that? Because that looks kind of crazy. They spent, I think, about a third, it looks like, of their video. I've got it muted right now, by the way. On this virtual tabletop, which looks fucking sick, if I'm being honest. Like, this looks cool. This looks like a cool sim game, right? Like I'm playing a coaster or something, and I'm painting all the walls and shit in the buildings. Like I don't, or like old school, like Neverwinter Nights or something, or where you're putting all the things in there. I guess Sword Coast Legends, or not Sword Coast Legend. What is it called? The Solasta had a builder that you could do with that. So it seems like they're building off of that. Like, hey, let's take what is a video game looking 3D space and then just create D&D out of that, basically, but use miniatures, which is a cool look and drives it back into the fact that it's, you know, D&D, and I think will allow you to use all these different maybe custom assets and stuff, because God, every time I try to go, it's people talking there. Every time I try to script the video. Versus having to worry about like 3D models and animation, for example. I guess they're still a 3D model, but it doesn't look like they're like super animated or anything. Maybe the minis just kind of rock back and forth. Yeah, with the dice bouncing around. Yeah, there we go. That's a good look at it. Well, okay, that one actually like spat acid out of there, I guess. I'm very, 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 very interested in this. I'm very interested in trying it as somebody who has, who basically only... I will probably admit I only really started playing D&D because virtual tabletops started existing about 10 years ago. Because I didn't have any kind of local groups or anything like that. And all my friends were in diaspora. We're all spread around. And being able to get online and play using a visual, you know, representation of battlefields and monsters and stuff was the key. And it's, at the one hand, it's kind of crazy it's taken this long to get to this, you know, level to where we can, oh yeah, let's just have a full, like, and I think they try, like Divinity Original Sin had one where it's like, hey, here's like a GM mode or something that didn't really take off. So I've been like just waiting and waiting and waiting, and for somebody to come along. Obviously there's like Foundry, there's other like, you know, tabletop stuff out there than Roll20, but something that can be directly integrated into D&D Beyond, which would finally get me to use the damn thing. There we go. Yeah, but just like that, the art style looks great. The minis just kind of rocking each other, I think does a good job of distinguishing it between, no, we're playing a, you know, a tabletop board game and not just a, you know, video game. But if it can track all the things, initiatives and hit points, which you saw, there was like little, yeah, there's bars on the top, which looks really good for hit points. It looks like it tracks distance as you walk by feet, which is pretty sexy. Jason says the VTT really worries me. They're moving to completely digitize the game so they can monetize it and control it. Welcome to the modern age, my friend. Yes, absolutely they are. I'm not as doom and gloom about it though. If anything, this is the competition to like other virtual tabletops, and I think that's good ultimately. Maybe other virtual tabletops can try to step up their game, be like, yeah, let's do full on 3D modeling and stuff, which not everybody's going to want this level of craziness. But I could definitely see where, they absolutely want to create their own digital ecosystem and, be able to sell digital content that, and I'm sure they'll figure out a way to monetize it. And I'm sure people will scream about how it's, not the right way. And there'll be some kind of, what am I trying to say? Baby steps or something like to where we can get there. To where everybody can figure out a system that works. I just think about when Steam launched, like, fucking almost 20 years ago now or something. Maybe it has been 20 years, and everybody was like, "Who's gonna fucking buy digital games on, or have to have this digital platform just to play the games? Like, that's bullshit." And now look at us, like, nobody thinks Steam is crazy or bad. Well, I guess a lot of people do, but like, everybody gets used to it because I think Valve has done a really good job with that ecosystem for the most part. Now, I'm not saying Wizards and D&D Beyond will be the best stewards of having a virtual tabletop system integrated, but I have to be hopeful. I'm a hopeful person. Lucas says, I get the appeal of the VTT, sort of. Person looks like way too much work to fiddle with unless I was buying pre-built maps and such, which I'm sure they'll sell along with the modules. Right. That's definitely something I want to see, is like, hey, and the other interesting thing is, will you allow other people to create those maps? Because we've got the DM's Guild, for example, where people, Wizards will release, their adventure with the black and white maps that I'm not a big fan of. But other folks can come on and create beautiful maps and then upload those to the DM's Guild, and then anybody can download them and then use those maps. So it's still, officially, royalty based and all that crap, because DM's Guild takes 50%. So I wonder if there'll be something like that where other people can still create the content and maybe even sell them. Or if, D&D itself will just have like, hey, here's, and hopefully if they're using this virtual tabletop system, I would absolutely hope that all of their adventure content would have adventures laid out like that. But then, that's another good point, is like, can anybody then go in and edit those adventures and be like, okay, well, I want to run this map, but I want to close off this room and create something else here. I want to change this. Like, what is involved in the editing thing, and how closed of an ecosystem is it versus do they allow people to go crazy with it? So I think there's probably a good balance in there somewhere. And I certainly hope that they make it very user friendly, for one. Not all of us are fucking 3D modelers or, all that stuff. And I can be very overwhelmed with that also. It's all I can do just to create some little bullshit Roll20 maps using already pre-made assets. This is obviously going to have a bunch of pre-made stuff on there, but it would still be a lot of work to throw together, basic maps and modules. Most of us aren't going to have the time to be able to do that for every little map. What percentage of players have a PC laptop that can actually handle this VTT? Yeah, hopefully it's, it looked very nice, but what they're showing is going to be most likely the best version of that, right? With all the enhanced lighting and everything else. Hopefully there'll be some options for that. That's a huge plus for something like Roll20, where it's literally browser based. It'll be interesting to see what the requirements are. I think they mentioned at one point that it wasn't even just going to be on PC. So maybe they could do it to consoles or maybe even mobile. Like, I'm not sure how that is going to work, but certainly accessibility will be in their best interest to to create there. Should do some kind of one-shot or mini adventure with this thing for sure. Yeah, I definitely want to cover this. I'm pretty excited about it. As somebody, again, who grew up with a lot of RPGs and was always dabbling with this kind of stuff, but never had the wherewithal or anything to really commit to it in terms of creating adventure content in a 3D space. It seems very, very interesting. Castle Ravenloft looked pretty sick in this VTT. That would be amazing if that was their showcase. Like, hey, here's what a sample adventure looks like. We're going to go and give you the entire Castle Ravenloft from Curse of Straw. That would be awesome. Like, that kind of shit would be really, really smart for them to do. And even be like, look, we're just going to sell you, which people would buy, I think. We're going to sell you like Castle Ravenloft, for example, and here's how it looks. And it's this whole pre-built set, similar to how Roll20, they have the license to sell you the modules, for example, but it's not like when I load the module into Roll20, I can't do anything with it, right? I can do whatever the fuck I want with it once I've purchased it. So as long as they let you do that, so for example, if they sell me, hey, here's Castle Ravenloft, built with this glorious 3D engine, exactly as it appears in Curse of Strahd, for, I don't know, whatever, 20, 30 bucks or something. That's actually kind of pricey for a map, but I don't know, but we'll, you know, depending on how it looks. And then once I have my hands on it, then I can go in and completely edit it myself and add and remove things. That would actually be awesome. It's going to mean so much work for DMs unless you're playing pre-mades and not changing anything. Video games are already a digital thing. This is entirely different. With all the whining I did, I am a DM who will enjoy using this to some extent. Yeah, I think it's fair to be worried in a lot of ways. And I'm probably being overly optimistic about things, as I tend to be. So I think we just have to all check it out and see what's all involved. I don't doubt that there will be a lot of growing pains. That was the term I was trying to use earlier, with them trying to figure out the best way to implement all of this. I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains with this involved, because it's kind of a new thing in terms of how much they want to integrate it and, you know, create this virtual space while still being true to a tabletop. But more importantly, how well do you know, create those third-party stores or be able to share things? They mentioned the fact that you could like load your own models and have those be minis. Like, how on earth is that going to work? Can people create and share and upload their stuff? Like, I'm very curious to see how well this works, because we are in an age where people expect a lot from these kind of tool sets, which I think is fair. If it's free, at least if the base part of it is free, I think that's going to be a huge plus. And then which is what I expect. And then I expect them to then sell you basically everything, similar to how the standard rules document, whatever, is free, but like the actual, you know, published rule books and things, is going to cost you. They're going to charge for that. So I think that's fair to say that a lot of that stuff is going to be locked behind a marketplace. But maybe if, you know, is all the assets free? Can we just go in and build our own thing? Is it like Roll20 basically, where you could technically build all of your stuff for free if you wanted to, if you had the time and inclination? Or is it a question of just purchasing, you know, this content is going to save you time, or do you actually have to get it? So it's very, very interesting. I'm not even tied to D&D Beyond at all. I have everything in Roll20. That's what I've been using for fucking 8 or 9 years, whatever it's been now. So that's what I'm tied to. So the fact that I'm even thinking about, gosh, this could entice me to maybe not entirely jump ship, but at least go over to that side of the fence and be like, oh, what do you got going over there? That's looking kind of interesting. I need to play around with that. So it's got me excited. So I think it's definitely doing its job there. All right, well, I've chatted a lot more than I thought I would, but this has been fun. A chance to look at their D&D Direct and check out all the crazy new stuff that's coming throughout really all of next year, I guess. We didn't expect so many announcements. I am bullish, I guess, on the virtual tabletop. I'm stupidly optimistic about it, but I'd love to hear more comments about it. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the new edition of 2024 and checking it out. I'm disappointed that the starter set with presumably an adventure isn't coming until late next year. I'm disappointed that the first adventure book we got isn't a full campaign, but is instead an anthology and isn't also coming until middle of next year. But hopefully this time, the time it's taking everybody will make it all very, very nice. All right, thank you so much for joining me for this live reaction and discussion to the D&D Direct 2024. The best other place to chat is going to be at my Discord channel. We can definitely chat about some more there. Otherwise, I will see you all Thursday for our next crafting stream, and hopefully I won't be deathly ill from this stupid head cold I'm trying to get over. All right, folks, bye.